Death Battle, one of the most important and famous channels for all the debate community, recently mentioned the possibility of bringing Alan Becker's characters to the ring. This was discussed in a video where they talk about a King Orange and Asriel Dreemur versus, which if you didn't know, is from Undertale, my favorite game. So of course, I couldn't miss the chance to do this versus. Still makes me a little sad to have to compare my favorite game against my favorite animation, but anyway, you don't care about this and just want to know who would win in a serious fight between these two powerful gods. So relax, sit back, and get comfortable, because this video is going to get insane. Before everything, only a small portion of you guys are subscribed, so please subscribe. This will make the channel grow even more and motivate me to bring more videos. Now enough talking, and let's start the video. First let's talk about Asriel, since he's the most popular of the two. Asriel, being the strongest monster in all Undertale, scales above all monsters within his verse. Straighting with AP, let's start at wall level since in his base form as Floey, he scales above base Frisk, who easily withstood the explosion of Undyne's oven. He also upscales the bosses, which must be at least building level. Speaking of the god of Hyperdeath himself, he was able to completely destroy a timeline with his Hyper Goner, which places him comfortably at Universal Plus. People might try to deny this feat, mentioning the part of the game that says the world is ending, and by that the world is still there and by extension, Asriel did not destroy the timeline. But this is kinda shaky if you consider that world in this sentence means everything in the game, including the timelines. And there are even statements in official sources which states he can destroy everything, so Universal Plus is a guaranteed spot for him. It's worth noting that this also goes for his durability, since he has equal stats, so Universal Plus durability for sure. Now that we've covered the easiest part, let's talk how much you can scale him even higher. There are several references and statements from characters that affirm the existence of multiple timelines. This is supported by the fact that in-game, after you reset, you still have access to the save from the previous timeline. And you can do this forever and you'd still have access to the timeline you saved. You could argue the fun value, saying there are only 100 timelines, but they only tell you the probability of certain events happening. Besides, looking at the game files to figure something out isn't exactly safe for a debate. So, based on this mechanic and several timeline references, we can argue that there are countless timelines. And since Asriel was said to be capable of destroying everything, this scales him to multiversal. And before someone say Asriel should be multiversal plus because of a single line that says the Undertale world has infinite possibilities and therefore infinite timelines, that's just a big misinterpretation, since it's saying about the player meeting the door of the character. Besides, who is this character again to speak about timelines? And after the Asriel fight, she just changes the dialogue saying it's gonna be another chances of you meeting her door. Why does this girl want us to meet her door, bro? Besides, countless is not infinite. When I say countless timelines, I am saying that there is not a limit of how many timelines can exist, but can you count from 1 until infinite? No, I guess you can't. Even if you have infinite time, you won't ever reach infinite. So no infinite timelines. Overall, if you think there is only one timeline, Asriel is Universal Plus. If you believe there are countless timelines, Asriel would be multiversal. Now, let's talk about his speed. As I said, he upscales from all monsters. But honestly, monsters don't scale above Transonics, and I'm talking about Sans. That's because I don't believe that magic is really equivalent to their real things, like, I don't think real lightning is like that, or comes out of a cloud with a face. Besides, it doesn't have any lightning properties. But calm down, there are feats that put Asriel above that. When the Hyper Goner destroyed the timeline and Asriel and Frisk continued their fight, they fought in a place without time. So Asriel has immeasurable speed. Even more reinforced by the fact that he can destroy everything, and I doubt that if he did, he wouldn't be able to handle the destruction and would be frozen in time, so immeasurable speed seems good to me. Speaking of hacks, he can summon lightning bolts that this time seem more real, but of course they are also immeasurable. He can summon chaos sabers, projectiles, fly, destroy a timeline with his Hyper Goner, transform into his final form that makes him much stronger, at the point everything is ending just with his presence, and manipulate souls. That's basically all the important things Asriel has, but will it be enough to defeat King Orange? Let's find out. King Orange is the main antagonist of the third season of Animation vs. Minecraft, portrayed as one of the strongest characters in his verse, and with reason. But since I think you all already know his story, I'll go straight to the scale. Well, he scales above the Stick Gang, which could already destroy walls and withstand train attacks, which puts him at wall level. They can also tank small building level and building level explosions, and also tank damage from a skeleton that was running so fast it circled the Minecraft world, something calculated at large town level. But speaking of his feats themselves, they are some of the greatest in the verse. With the power of a Minecraft icon, it was mentioned and proven that that he could destroy everything in existence, and although Alan once said that the Minecraft world is small, he must have been referring to his PC world, since there are several mentions of normal worlds being infinite. And yes, it was said that King Orange would destroy everything, even multiplayer worlds. The overworld alone would already scale it to Universal Plus, but King Orange would destroy all 3 dimensions of each world. This would be low multiversal. But don't worry, there are still ways to make him stronger. You know, he was said to be able to destroy everything, and there was never a limit to the number of worlds you can store on your computer, something pretty similar to Undertale and its timelines. And although there is a limited number of seeds, you can recreate them without any problems. So, if Minecraft can support countless seeds without a limit, this puts King Orange in multiversal, just like Asriel. Speaking of his speed, he can easily react to stick gangs, which are capable of reacting to lighting and lasers, even outrunning King's black hole. He also upscale from the feat of yellow catching fur at high speed, which was calculated to MFLT+, which easily puts King at that level. But if you remember, King Orange managed to move inside the black hole, a black hole that would destroy everything, including time in Minecraft, making King's speed immeasurable. There is also the fact that it affects the end, which was said to have no day and night cycle, which in Minecraft's logic means that end nor the nether have time. But as this was not explicitly said in Alan Becker's universe, only that these 2 dimensions do not have a day and night cycle, it is not 100% safe to use this to put the King in immeasurable. But if you consider it, I still don't see a problem, since Alan's and Minecraft's universes are almost identical. With his hacks, he can execute any Minecraft command, but prefer to use barriers and block projectiles. Got the creative mode, which makes him invulnerable to anything, and of course he can create a black hole, and use a vortex ray that, while not very powerful, can affect the Stigang's codes, even the Second Coming, which already had incredible resistance to code manipulation, as we saw when he completely ignored the command to be erased during Animation vs Animator 4. Now let's get to the most interesting part of the fight, analyzing who would win. Well, as you've seen, Asriel and King Orange have a multiversal scale and immeasurable speed, which makes this fight very interesting. To define who would win, we'll have to decide based on stamina, combat, strategy, and hacks. Well, as far as I remember, Asriel was never said to have infinite stamina, while King in creative mode makes him lose his hunger bar, which would be equivalent to his stamina, which makes it infinite. In combat and battle IQ, King was even better than the Stick Gang, being able to fight several at once and outsmarting them with his strategies. Asriel, on the other hand, was never a melee character and heavily relied only on his saves, resets and powers as flowy. Even in his final form, he relies heavily on his powers and doesn't utilize melee combat or any strategy. And in hacks, Asriel's abilities wouldn't work at full power on King Orange since, as a stickman, he has no soul, only codes. Attacks might hurt him, but thanks to his durability, he won't be one-shotted. Even if he decides to use the Hyper Gunner, King has already demonstrated with his black hole that he can easily evade this attack and even withstand it without issue. Now, most of King's attacks wouldn't be effective either. His block attacks aren't exactly what I'd consider a victory, since Asriel can also withstand his attacks. King could use commands, but it's clear he prefers not to. He only summoned his black hole to destroy Minecraft, so it's nearly impossible for him to summon it in a fight. But even if he does, Asriel could still escape, having escaped the Hyper Gunner himself, and could easily resist, just like King. But King Orange has one thing that Asriel can't counter, which is his vortex ray that damages codes. As was done in videos, you can interact with Asriel code to kill him, which proves that he can indeed take damage from code. Even the Second Coming, which is a character immune to this, was affected by the King's attack. So the King has better stamina, battle IQ, combat, and hacks, making him win this fight with mid difficulty. Well, regardless of which side win, I will still read your comments if you agree or disagree with me. And to prove that my effort was worthy, please leave a like and subscribe if you got this far, because now I'm going to give you a little bonus. Remember when I said that King Orange is multiversal? Well, this is still kind of a low ball for him. If King Orange really wants to destroy Minecraft, he wouldn't just need to destroy the 3 worlds an infinite number of times, but even larger structures, starting with the famous seeds. You know them, but when you stop and think about it, a seed is so large that it can contain 3 infinite dimensions and will probably be able to contain even more in the future. Places it as 5D, making King Orange to a low complex multiversal. But it's not over yet, because he would destroy every seed of every player, causing him to destroy infinite seeds, but that's not enough, since he wanted to destroy Minecraft completely. We know that the Minecraft app can encompass countless seeds, which places it in a higher dimension, that is, 6D, taking King Orange to a complex multiversal, since he would have to destroy infinite Minecraft apps to achieve his goal. Just didn't use this way of scale because wanted to make the fight close. Overall, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, leave a like and subscribe, as this helps me a lot. And get ready, since the Halloween special is coming. Until then, stay safe and see ya on the next video.